speaking of that, I want to transition to talking about the wedding, if you'd be so inclined.
The wedding was so beautiful and nicely done, and I think so original and like completely different from any other wedding experience I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was
Thanks.
the biggest highlight for you of the day?
Oh my gosh. Do you have a...
I don't know. I mean, there's probably a lot of highlights. I guess just in general, you know, when people are talking about like, oh, or I guess I had a number of people say to me like, oh, it's going to be like a rush. Just try to be present. Just try to enjoy it. And I was like, okay. And then the moments when it was like kind of more like a traditional wedding, even those moments weren't, like when we were at the lunch and there were just a lot of people, and then even at the after party and there were just like a lot of people, and everyone, you know, I felt like I only had 5 seconds with everyone and was getting like pulled away to take photos and doing this, and like that was like, whoa, this is moving really fast, and I like don't feel like I get to talk to everyone. But I think the in between time of walking was really just like, I was obviously we like that was what the whole day was planned around, but I was just so grateful that we did that, because it actually gave me a moment to like do that whirlwind of like, oh my gosh, these are all these people, and then like decompress. But it wasn't over. Like I was gonna get another chance at like seeing the people that I had missed earlier, and you know, trying to like maybe introduce the people I wanted to introduce. Like I feel like sometimes, especially in like a social situation, like I get really overwhelmed, and then I'm like, oh man, I should have done this thing, or I should have done that thing. And then it was like I got another chance at it later in the day. And it was like, yeah, we got to see a bunch of people and kind of have that like rush, and then like slow down with like less people, and then slow down with just the two of us, and then just like enjoy. And I made it so that like the ceremony was so fun. Like I thought I'd be a little nervous or something standing up in front of people and like reading what I had written that felt really like honest, and kind of like I like wasn't sure if I was like being too emotional and vulnerable, and then realized
It was funny.
like, okay, good.
It was really funny. It was cute. She referenced the astrology book, if you caught it, basically like going home and reading about his horoscope as soon as she met him, and processing how like
It wasn't supposed to.
it wasn't supposed to work out.
The stars didn't tell us it was.
But then here you are.
Well, I think it's interesting because when I think about that, I've heard the story before. You know, it doesn't. I think there's like, you know, the idea of crisis opportunity. You know, where it's like, I think it just all it indicates to me is that there's like a powerful force that is existing on this day, and then it's what we do with it that ultimately like decides whether it's good or not. You know. So that's how I've always interpreted it as.
Yeah.
Does everybody know that you guys started the day on your own private walk before going on to that? Because I know the video that you released kind of starts at the lunch, but there was a whole other walk portion that happened prior.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, now you know. We started the day at 5 a.m. We got up at 4, we left at 5. We had this incredible experience at sunrise, which I believe we told you, but I'll describe it again, and we can link to a video, where we got to Marine Park right as the sun was cresting over some trees, and you know, we film everything, so I started filming it, and you know, 10 seconds into the filming, there was a person that was just down by the water that had brought their recorder, and all of a sudden they're playing this Celine Dion-esque "My Heart Will Go On" kind of like Irish, Asian, I'm not sure what it, but like, you know, folk tune on the recorder.
Flute.
And it was just a surreal experience for like a minute and 45 seconds. Just like, is this really happening? I don't know.
Yeah.
Keep recording. I don't know.
I like thought maybe I was just hearing things. I was like, am I just like really excited?
It's your
about
wedding
the day?
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, it couldn't have been a more auspicious beginning. And that period of 3 hours that we were walking around, along with the period of the hour before the ceremony, were some really nice moments that I think were part of the non-traditional aspect of our wedding that I'm really grateful for, which is having time with each other rather than it being separate. And I can see the merits of it being separate, because then it's like a big moment when you get together. But for us, it was like a time to compare notes, a time to connect, and a time to really just feel what the day was.
So for everyone that didn't see in the wedding video, we did after the lunch all walk together in 2 groups. Jesse had a group, Michael had a group, and then we all came together at the park, and then we walked through the park all together as one big group. But then at the end, they said goodbye to everybody and they finished off their marathon walk together, alone, without everybody.
It was so special. And actually, well, I'm remembering another couple that we actually had on here together. It was JP and Patrick.
Ah, yes.
Greenwood Cemetery.
Oh my God,
that was one
I'm not
episode.
special at all. How many
No.
couples? Oh my
Well, they
goodness.
came on one episode together, and the reason I bring that up is because actually right when we said goodbye to everyone that was with us in the park, Patrick showed up.
Right.
And he had brought along a pinhole camera that is like a camera that takes just one photo.
Yeah.
And he took this amazing photo of us
That's so great.
during that time. So it was nice. We kind of got to like decompress from like the big group that we had and take this really special photo with like one friend. And then we said goodbye to him and had our time alone.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's on Instagram if people want to see it. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think walking, just like that moment, walking around, I mean, we, on the way to the lunch, we had like this Baptist preacher ran out of his church and was like yelling Happy Father's Day to us, and then Mike yelled, "Oh, it's our wedding," and he came running across the street and like blessed us, talked to us for like 5 minutes and like gave us these blessings, and
That's amazing.
it was amazing. And then
So-
yeah, we
Brooklyn.
had all these
Yeah.
moments with people, and like
He had a big diamond cross on.
Oh,
It was
wow.
cool.
Bling.
it was,
Yeah,
it was
and
really
we
cool.
filmed that, so at some point that'll be out in the world.
It'll
We'll
be
see.
there.
Yeah.
And at some point in the second half of the day in the walks, before we met up, my group went to use the bathroom at a park, and there was a big sprinkler, and like people were like running through the sprinkler in their like, you know, wedding outfits, and I didn't because I was actually in a gown. But like I was in my wedding dress that I had made and went over to refill my water cup, and there was this little girl like filling up water balloons. So I like helped her fill a water balloon and then like asked if I could use the water fountain, and she's like, "I like your dress, you're pretty." I'm like, "Thank you." So it was like these really cool extra moments that, yeah, I don't think, not that there's, you know, I think traditional weddings of course have their merits too and are really fun and great, but like you don't get that kind of thing. Like you don't get to talk to like the little girl at the park filling up her water balloons.
Right.
And that, what
Usually.
was fun for me during that walk is having the layovers that were already pre-planned and organized, knowing that everyone was going to get to go to the bathroom in the park. And I think you guys had spoken about this in another episode, where in your journey you found out that like parks were actually like your little respite, and then planning for the wedding that everyone was going to kind of have these layovers, because we also laid over in a park, but I don't think it was the same one.
No, it was a different
No,
one.
it was right
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
street. Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out well for us. And to Jesse's point about, you know, being able to interact with people in a way you wouldn't normally, it was another interesting joining of, you know, people come together and they basically, I used the phrase earlier this week, like a love bubble, basically. You know, the idea is that everybody's going to give you unconditional positive regard. Everything's going to be great, and there's another side to that I'll get to in a little bit. But basically, the idea is like it's just this vehicle all day where everything's going to be positive and good, and they're going to give you everything they got, and it's usually in the context of like these very private spaces, and we took that bubble and tested it against an outside world, and it was uniformly received positively. I can't really think of an experience where
There
it
was
was.
one moment where
Okay,
I
here we go.
was like, it was
there
awesome.
was,
Yeah,
one,
what?
there was one moment in the first half of the walk on the way to the lunch where there was someone that we walked by him. He was on his stoop, and he was like clearly freaked out by like all the people walking, and he started filming it, and like Mike right as we were walking by him was like, "Hey, it's our wedding." And I don't know if he didn't hear or like what was going on in his head, but he was like, "I don't know what's happening. This is disgusting."
I didn't hear this is disgusting.
He said, "This is disgusting," and I was like, And then like someone near me, and like it was fine. I'm like, I hear people say weird stuff to me all the time. I've walked thousands of miles around the city this year, right? It's fine. But
Was it the fact that you guys were walking at like 6 o'clock in the morning with a bunch of people to their neighborhood, or
I
what?
don't know what it was.
I mean,
think
I know what it was. Basically, we were walking through Bed-Stuy,
Okay.
and it was like mostly white people.
A procession
And
of-
I think
Oh,
we were
maybe
in nice
that's what it
clothes,
was.
and I think he thought it was some sort of weird invading gentrification party.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what was
But
going
like
on.
I
don't
mean,
know.
that's why I said like it's
wasn't-
our wedding. He was trying to engage him, but he
Yeah.
was more interested in filming us
Yeah.
without our consent, really. But we
Which
were on the
was
street, you know, it's
fine.
fine.
It's like a tour group going through like
Yeah, that's-
Bed-Stuy,
that-
maybe
like, that
he
would-
did think it was a tour. Oh,
that'd be a
that's a good
problem.
point. Maybe he thought it was a tour group, and there just happened to be one lady in a wedding dress.
And that quirky one in the guts.
He
Yeah.
clearly was like not wanting to have the love bubble infiltrate him, and that's fine. And I wasn't offended. But what happened then? I was kind of like, why does he think we're disgusting? And then like 3 people around me were like, we're moving on.
I feel like
So
most
it's
people
still,
were.
like there's this like extra buffer around it, even though like we're fine, like there was still this like extra buffer all day of like
Exactly.
anything that could have been negative was like bounced back perfectly.
right.
So yeah, and that's the only thing that I can think of that happened from like the outside world that was like a negative experience, and it wasn't even. It was fine. It was great.
Yeah.
Who cares about him? He's probably cranky.
I think he was just cranky.
Yeah.
He was also like carrying a coffee. Like he was cranky. He was tired. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, the flip side of that whole thing is not that particular instance with that guy, but the idea of like creating this experience for us for the day is that typically I want to understand how other people are feeling and respond to their feelings. And so I think it worked well most of the day because anytime people were giving us positivity, it was reflecting it back immediately, like, and we're just elevating the whole experience. But, you know, I don't think we will maybe ever get like a totally accurate depiction of what the day was, you know, because everybody's just gonna be like, no, everything was wonderful. You know, nobody's gonna be like, well, there was that one thing, you know. It's like everything's just gonna be the best version of whatever it could be at any time, you know. And as somebody that's really cognizant of both trying to understand what's really happening and trying to be considerate of others, the next day and like I was thinking like it almost feels like it's false. It's not false. It's just people coming together to make something, but it's like it's synthetic, but you have to trust the fact that it's synthetic. Like it's not possible to live like that forever. It's only something that humans can come up together and make happen in a durational capacity. And it isn't really important what actually happened. What's important is that we felt that everything was perfect, you know?
Yeah.
It was. It was a celebration. Well, also like on top, it was nice for everyone to come together because it was also an opportunity to see people that we haven't seen in a very long time, and there's so much love and like missing of everyone, and then coming together for this celebration of this thing that's so monumental in your lives, and like you
Right.
know we get to share it with you, and in such a fun way. It wasn't just the normal like meet at the space and have a dinner and like watch a dance and a cake situation. It was a full experience that was immersive and awesome. Walking through Prospect Park with like all the different music
so-
and
on
like
the solstice. I mean, that's part of why we did it. That, you know, it's a summer solstice. It's
there
like
was a
peak.
full event
Yeah.
happening all over the park, and every corner you took there was different music like kind of happening and just people out and celebrating. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt really special.
Yeah.
And it felt really special, especially like after this year of people not seeing each other.
Yeah.
To like have this event where we were like not only bringing people together for us to see them and to celebrate us, but like I really felt happy that, because I really hate to be like the only center of attention, and I really like feel selfish to like have people just come to see me kind of thing. So it felt nice that it was like, well, we're also hosting an event where like people who want to see each other and haven't like been able to are given like a reason to come see each other as well.
Yeah.
So that it did feel really special to do
Yeah,
that.
I think it was cathartic for a lot of people to be able to gather and like embrace, and for now, you know, not feel the specter of sickness that we've felt for so long.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be, it was literally the kickoff to summer. So this is going to be quite the summer for everybody, you know.
You guys were the event of the summer already, starting at the beginning.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But I you know, something that struck me after, something that struck me after, that I guess in retrospect, after going to so many weddings and hearing people describe like the things like you said, like take it all in, you know, and like others say it goes so quick, or you know, stuff like that. I realized that like it's an intoxicating experience. It's like a drug. It's like the wedding experience is a drug, a love drug. Like I only had one drink, but I felt like punch drunk the entire day. And then I woke up after like 4 hours of sleep, and I felt like completely wiped out. Like every single endorphin in my body was gone. And like I felt a depression, like, which was whatever, it's a consequence of having that experience, and I feel good now. But I never really realized, because I don't think I guess it's not like, it's a little gauche maybe, I don't know what the word is exactly, but to describe your wedding is like, yeah, it's like a drug. But like that really, like, I mean, it is all this positive energy that's fed into you, and you experience that day high, you know?
It's also it wasn't just that, like, but it's the culmination of everything you've been building up to.
Right.
And I told this to Tahir when you guys had that whole announcement party,
right,
where I thought you were going to announce that you were getting engaged, because you had everybody all kind of tuned in, and it was the announcement of this journey you were going on. And I told Tahir later, I said, I bet you that this whole walk thing that they're doing at the very end is going to result in a wedding.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get it right the first time, but you got it right the second time.
Yeah. I was like, they're getting engaged, and then when you announced it, I said that it's gonna result in like a proposal at least.
Sure.
But the wedding was the best way to end it.
Yeah.
It felt really, I'm really glad we did it that way. Because even when we did officially get engaged, you know, we thought like we should do this on the last day of the project, or do so special. But then, you know, with like planning that and taking on the concern of like, is COVID gonna be over? Like, are we gonna be safe by then? Like, what's it gonna look like? All these questions still.
Yeah, it changed
But
dramatically
so,
in the 3 months leading up.
Anytime we would talk about like doing it later, we were like, well, I don't know. Then I don't really. What are we doing?
The timing was perfect.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it was the first time, at least for me, and I think for Jesse too, but where like it just clicked. It wasn't like we were necessarily avoiding marriage. It was just like, what is the through line where it makes sense and like fills us with enthusiasm to do? And this was where it hit, you know. And it came with a lot of anxiety, I think, on my end at least, in like the structuring of the event up until it happening. Not nerves, but like the idea of just like, I want as much as possible to be as good as possible. But then the actual day of, like, there was nothing like that. You know, it just kind of all came together, all the planning and whatnot. And thank God the weather was what it was. I mean, we would have made it work if it rained, but it was nice to not have it be rain.
It was nice that it was beautiful. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. And then and that was it.
It's also interesting. I mean, you say you had a little anxiety about the planning and everything. I did, I guess, from time to time, but like mostly it was wild to like plan a wedding, and like we already planned this whole year. I've already been like planning, like managing a bunch of people on days I'm not. Like I feel like getting like the skills that we've gotten as like producers have really grown over this last year. And so honestly, planning the wedding was like, to me, I felt like not really that big of a deal. Like it was kind of just like, all right, well, what do we want to do? How do we make it happen? What are the questions? All right, let's do it. Like, gotta order stuff, let's order stuff. Gotta call people, let's call people. I don't know, like, you want me to make a graphic for the invitation? I'm on it. Like
seating chart.
Seating chart, did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely confident that we had the skills to get it done. It's more when we were planning everything for us, there's nobody that we have to like communicate, okay, here's what you do, you know?
Yeah.
And in a typical wedding, if you're doing it in a way that there are a lot of traditions people can follow, there's less you have to actually communicate to people. But for this, we felt that we had to really over communicate, and that also, it's funny how like a lot of that over communication, the degree to which people actually ingested that information, where it's like this tricky thing where like I want to give you all the information you need to make this happen, but I already kind of know if I give you all the information, you're not going to be able to absorb it, because like only a few people will actually read a 5-paragraph email.
Your schedule of the day when I first looked at it was like, why is this so complicated? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I couldn't grasp it. And then when you guys had asked Tahir and I to get involved and kind of help with the process, it made sense that you would need somebody to kind of do that, because it is very confusing. But then when I went back and kind of read through it, it was like, oh, okay, this isn't actually that. Okay, got it.
Yeah, no, totally. So that and combine that with, again, like the idea of people wanting to know what to do traditionally at the wedding. They crave, like, okay, I stand here, I watch the first dance, I see the cake. Are they going to smash in each other's faces? I don't know, but that's the only variable, right?
Yeah.
Is the smash cake face going to happen? But for this, it was like literally like just, you can't expect anything. And so we had to provide all this information, and that's where the anxiety came for me, was like, do people understand? Do they not understand? You know?
Yeah.
And ultimately, one of the things that was a tradition that remained in our wedding was just show up and provide positive regard. That's really all we want. And I think as soon as people showed up, they realized that's all they had to do, and boom, it was easy, you know?
Yeah.
I want to compliment the small touches that like the lunch was, that you guys had the cocktail menus. There was the Highley and the Varlet, and then the total clarity.
Yeah.
And then even the bagels. We know that you've had a very big bagel journey.
Yeah.
We've all experienced the bagel journey with you. It was one of the questions that I didn't ask was, were those bagels from your favorite place that you found in the search?
Yeah.
And then the different spreads and choices that were in there, were those like curated a specific way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I assumed.
Yeah,
It was a very specific menu.
There's kind of a two-parter to that one. One, it was the only 5 bagel I had, and the 5 bagel,
5-star.
5-star bagel.
5 out of 5. Yeah,
it was a good bagel.
And I consider that to be more a moment in time than an actual replicable bagel experience. And 2,
Well, just because, like, you know, you give it 5 stars because it's like you might have walked in right when it just came out of the oven or whatever, and so you're not gonna,
well, I had that
But that was
bagel
so good.
prior a few days earlier, and it was like a 4.25. So like it's good, like it's still a good bagel.
It's a solid bagel.
Yeah, it's a good bagel. But in addition to that, this bagel store also happened to be in Middle Village, which is where both my parents are from. And it is very close to the graveyard where my dad is buried. So part of the reason it was a 5 was because like that energy was coming. I like sat down on like a parking lot guardrail and was eating this, and it was like a mess, but it was so good. And I was just like thinking about him as I was eating it. And so ultimately it happened to be one of the closer bagel spots to the bar, but also it seemed like a nice pairing for like involving the memory of my dad in some way too.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then the black and white cookies that were there was down the street at the you know, I hope I'm right, Mom. I'm pretty sure, because I never really got definitive word on this, but it's not where she used to work in terms of the establishment, but I believe it is the same building where she used to work at a bakery when she was like 16.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Those were good black and white cookies.
yeah, they were too.
Delicious.
Like
Nice.
I looked up best black and white cookies in the city, and like Russ and Daughters is considered the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and had it, and it's very good, and it definitely has like a unique take on the black and white cookie. But I didn't feel it was as good as this one. This black and white cookie was like a cakey one.
They were cake.
And
it was so soft.
and the
warm.
icing was like irregular as opposed to like a perfect circle, like fondant kind of thing, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, and it worked well.
Yeah. And then we had the gluten-free food, which was from a bagel place that we found just during this year that's uptown and is like a fully gluten-free bakery, and they also like do a bunch of stuff that's not bagels, like all sorts of like breads and sweets and things like that too. And we go there like anytime we're anywhere near the Upper West Side. I'm like, do you think we can go to Modern Bread and Bagel?
Yeah.
Bread and bagel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were able to get stuff from there, and yeah, it all kind of like tied in.
Yeah.
And then our friend Matt Clifford, who has Grilled Cheese Alley inside of the bar, also was into making like a special little menu for us.
The
to
avocado
supplement.
toast.
Avocado
Yeah,
toast,
avocado
pickled
toast
Brussels
and
sprouts, and
little
mini
mini
quiches.
quiches.
Yeah.
I did not know that there were Brussels sprouts and quiches.
Oh,
but
no.
I'm
It
sure
was
they
on
were
the menus.
delicious.
Yeah.
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 I definitely heard avocado toast, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was all about the bagels. The bagels
Yeah,
were
yeah,
amazing.
totally.
Yeah,
about-
there was only so much you could take in, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. The bagels were very filling. I went
Yeah.
for a two-parter.
Nice.
Cat's
Yeah.
Deli
Yeah.
coming
Yeah,
in
that
for
There
the
was
dinner.
one other special thing at the lunch that I should
Oh,
mention,
okay.
but my landlord at my studio,
Yes.
actually, Fernando, as soon as I told him we were engaged, him and his wife are like really into the food world here in New York. And as soon as I told him we were engaged, he was like, amazing, congratulations, can I make your cake? And I was like, well, I don't think we're gonna have a cake, you know, like it's not really a traditional wedding. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna make your cake. Like,
You're getting a cake.
You're getting a cake. So he just insisted and like made it happen. And I was like, okay, that's great. And so yeah, they like came with and like brought it in the corner and like iced it there and put all these little berries, and it was so
amazing.
sweet and so good. And yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's very
and
generous. Thank
really
you.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then yeah, at night we got Katz's too.
Yeah.
Which is also like classic New York.
Yeah, and this is another one of those things, nobody's ever going to tell us the truth about this. I hope there was enough,
Yeah.
because what happened, what appeared to happen, was that we gave everybody the RSVP option. It was an a la carte wedding. Are you going to come to this part, this part, this part? And so there was the after party, and it's like, are you going to come to this part? And a lot of people said, no, it's a school night, I'm going to go home. And then those people ended up showing up, that's wonderful.
Yeah, which is
but we
great.
ended up, we should have just ordered enough food for whoever was at the ceremony.
I
But
mean, how are
instead
you
we-
supposed to know that people
Right.
are just
well, I
gonna?
think we had like 90 people say they were gonna come.
Yeah.
So we ordered like the right amount for like 90 to 120, like what Katz's suggests, from like 90 to 120.
More than
Yeah.
enough food.
So we thought, yeah, we were like, I think that'll be more than enough. But then at some point, like pretty early on, we were like, there's no food. Like there was like this long line of people to get food, and then it was like gone. And I hope everyone got food.
I think
if
everybody
they
did.
I mean, the
but-
fact that the food completely disappeared, it sounds
That's
like
good.
all of it
I think that's a good
was
thing,
enjoyed.
yeah.
There
I know
wasn't
a
tons
number
left
of-
over.
I know a number of people told me that they like made it back for seconds even.
Good,
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
I grabbed two portions because
Nice.
I grabbed two different sides, and I
Nice.
knew like at least if I had one, Tyre could have the other.
Totally.
We ended up having a bite, but then I was very tired after that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was also that was
Yeah,
delicious.
somebody,
it was
I
much
forget
needed.
who told us.
Yeah.
I think it was Chris Hart and Michael Hayden, maybe. I think they were like, yeah, we just spent an hour just walking around the parking lot afterwards.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
it was
So
too
otherwise you
good.
can pass out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the
after that
turkey
big
as well.
day.
Like I was like, I'm not going near that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But people stuck around. You know, it seems like it wasn't too sleep-inducing. But
Yeah.
our friend Grant, I don't know if you know Grant Gordon or not, but we drew inspiration from actually his father's funeral.
Okay.
They catered the entire affair from Katz's, and it was just like, this is a really great thing to do for a party of people. You
Yeah.
know, I hope you
Yeah.
don't mind if we use it for the wedding. And yeah, it was just a celebratory food thing. you
It
know?
was kind of like, thank you for coming to New York, and this is a New York-based thing. That was, I
Yeah.
mean, it got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what better place that is
Yeah.
New York City?
Yeah.
It's such, I think Katz's is like, I've
Pastrami
been saying
and
this
corned
a
beef.
lot this week, but like, it's so special, that place, because it somehow like does it all. Like it manages to be like the easy place that people go for lunch if they work around there. It's also the place that like people will drive in from out of town
Mm-hmm.
to go to as a tourist, and it's also just like really good. Like
I didn't know they did catering, so that was
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
surprise. It was awesome.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and that venue, the Tamaqua Marina, was. We were really pleased that it happened to be right there next to the marine park for us, because it's such a unique space in terms of like, why does this exist here? How can
Yeah.
it support 500 people when every week that was open to the public? Like, we didn't close that down. Like that was the number of patrons. There was like 1 or 2 people there at all times, and then us.
Okay, so let's clarify, because I was one of the first people to arrive to Tamaqua.
Yeah.
And I know Chris Supino was there, and he was kind of like helping out with the food.
Yeah.
When I walked in the door, the owner woman or whoever she was just setting up the table and trying to get it ready to start putting the foods out.
Yeah.
And I said, "How's everything going?" And she said, "Well, we just found out that this was happening, so we're dealing with that the best that we can."
Yeah.
Did you guys really not tell them that you were
No,
showing
we
up with all these
definitely
people?
No, this is great.
them.
So we're talking
So-
about the love bubble.
Yeah.
This was a thing. You can go.
So we went in there like 2 months ago. And we went in on a Sunday, and we met this bartender named Tad. And we were like,
Oh,
hey,
Tad.
this place is really cool. We're getting married in a couple months right down the street at Marine Park. And we're thinking we might want to come here after. Like, do you guys do that? And he was like, yeah, you can just come by. I'm the bartender Sundays. Just come by. And we were like, okay, but it's like probably gonna be like 100 people. And he was like, sounds cool. Yeah, no, there's plenty of room. It'll be fine. So we were like, okay. So then 2 weeks ago, we went back because we were like, that's too good to be true.
No,
There's
he said
way.
just come back when it's closer.
Oh, right,
We
that's
asked all the questions. We
Yeah.
hung out there for a few hours. It was basically the closest we did to a wedding tasting. We went to the Tamaqua and had like Stella's and just hung out with Captain Jack, their cat. That was like the sweetest cat.
That cat was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just
People were very excited about the
it
cat.
was. I mean, to be clear, it seemed too good to be true. But we
Yeah.
were like, whatever. This is the guy,
Yeah, we were
and we'll
like,
come back in a couple weeks and whatever.
Yeah, so we did. So we went back exactly 2 weeks before the wedding. And there was one person in there, and they were watching whatever that zombie show is.
The
True
Walking Dead,
or-
the return or the new one.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead.
It
yeah.
was just the two of them watching that. And we were like,
So it must have been
hey.
like a Sunday night.
It was a Sunday night.
Yeah, just scoping it out. How
Just
busy is
scoping
it?
it out. And we were like, hey, Todd, I don't know if you remember us, but we had talked about coming in here after our wedding. It's coming up. It's only 2 weeks from today. And he was like, sure, cool, see you then. And
He was like, I think
hey.
it sounds like maybe we'll need another bartender.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah,
And
whatever.
we were like, are you sure? Like, do you need anything from us to like plan that? Are you sure? Like, it's just fine. We can just come in. And he's like, yeah, it's fine, no problem. And we're like, okay. So yeah, that was our understanding, was that there was like, we had checked like multiple times with him, is this fine? You're sure? Like, we can just come and that's not a problem. And then we ended up giving Chris a credit card because we were like, go in, get people like started, it's like cash bar into the night. But until we get there, just like pay for people's drinks so that they can like do it quickly. If they really are gonna have like just 2 bartenders on, like then they can just like grab the drinks and give them to people and not have to worry about cashing out and whatever. And then it was like 20 minutes after we had gotten married, my mom comes over to where we were saying goodbye to some people and is like, hey, I just got a call from your friend Chris, and he said there's like something happening. I guess you should call him back. So I called back Chris, and he was like, yeah, they're really confused about the card, and I don't know, they're saying they don't know. They're being very nice, but it's like, everyone seems confused.
They had no idea you were coming.
So then I get on the phone with the woman who was like the manager, and her name was Pat, but I thought she said, hi, this is Tad, but it was a woman. And I was like, is everyone there named Tad? But it was Pat. And I was like, hi, what's happening? And she was like, well, we had to get 2 girls on the floor because we can't have this. We need people on the floor, and we had to get 3 bartenders, and there's a fee for the floor to rent the space. And I was like, okay, well, we've spoken to Tad. I don't know, this is fine. Like, I'm happy to give you whatever you need. Like, thank you for figuring it out. But we've also spoken to Tad, and he said we could just come in. It was fine. Like, we did like okay this through him. And she was like, Tad doesn't know what he's doing. Tad doesn't know. He messes everything. He messed it all up. We didn't know anything. We didn't know till just now. And I was like, okay. But like, then I felt really bad.
Sounds like it sounds like they had people come
definitely
in.
Oh, they
to
most
work.
certainly knew.
They were aware.
What she's told
There's
you was
no-
not because
there's absolutely
we were
no
not
way
expecting
that they only
decorations,
knew.
and they decorated the whole place. All
They
those
decorated the
flowers,
whole
the things on the
place.
ceiling, those weren't there.
Most
That's
Sundays
amazing.
it
Yeah.
was literally just Tad. Like,
Yeah.
they had 6 people working.
Okay.
There's no way
They were
that they
prepared.
found out like 15 minutes before and like slapped that together. Like they were super prepared.
Okay, Pat, drama queen.
She was just being dramatic and like rude. Like that was rude for her to say that
to you.
Like,
yeah.
However,
us.
okay, wait, I guess I'm jumping ahead. Basically, we were like, okay, we need to go get money because they wanted it in cash.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
also,
And we did,
let's
and
be
it was
clear.
fine.
I mean, this is the only part we'll say about the wedding. It was $600
Yeah.
for 2 bartenders and a space. Like, this is not
That's
a freaking.
nothing.
No,
Nothing.
it's nothing in
It's
New York
nothing.
City.
Obviously, we were like, that's fine.
That's an ice
like,
fee.
That's
I
totally
know,
fine.
absolutely. No, we were
Yeah.
100%. But of course, I don't have $600 cash on me.
No.
So we're in our wedding apparel at the Mobile, the Bala Market Mobile on Avenue
Taking out
U,
cash.
taking out $600 in cash, $200 at a time.
Yeah.
Right before we get to our
Wow.
reception.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then,
And then when we got there, she was like, oh my God, hi,
Yeah, no.
congratulations, great.
She was
welcome,
super
have
with
a
the
great
program
time, we're gonna-"
from
and
that
they
on.
were great.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
handed
am
her a
a little-
$600 tip at
I am a
that
little
point.
upset that they like told people that they had no idea because
Yeah.
that does make us look stupid and like we clearly planned it out. They obviously, like if anyone would think about that a little more, like yeah, the entire outdoor space was like decorated with flowers. Like
Yeah,
that was
they had all
not
the little
how
tables.
they
Okay.
decorated normally.
So you heard
Yeah.
it here, folks. Mike
If
and
you-
Jesse
yeah.
absolutely prepared that.
We
It wasn't a surprise to the
definitely-
staff.
It
We
was a
didn't just
surprise to
gorilla
us.
bomb
No.
to Macwa Bar and
Yeah,
whatever
no.
grill in the marina.
No. If we had done that, it literally would have just been Tad.
Yeah,
And he would have been like,
that would have been a shit show.
Okay.
You were like,
Sounds
okay.
like Tad couldn't
Sure.
have handled it.
I only saw Tad once, and he looked like he was struggling. I think he went home sick, and like he was coming out from the back, and he just was like
Yeah.
sweating or just.
He wasn't
you
the
know.
old like pirate captain guy, was he?
no.
He's
the
kind of
guy
he's a
with
silver
the-
hair but
yeah.
fresh, younger face. I
Oh.
don't know.
Yeah. No, but I mean, he's also like, he was so nice to
I was
us
so
when
nice.
we went in, and like he was part of the reason we had it there because he was like so welcoming and friendly, and yeah.
It was a
should've-
cool venue.
Yeah, we
It was
should have
cool.
given him our number, but also they should have asked for our number.
Yeah.
That would have been the thing to you know,
Yeah.
to do.
And to give you a heads up that there's going to be like a deposit or some sort of
Oh,
fee.
of course. I mean, that
I
goes
think
without
he just
saying.
had
Like
no
he just
idea.
he had no
I think
idea.
He just had
yeah.
no idea. I think he really just thought it was fine, and we
Yeah.
were like,
Tad just lives in like one of the
Okay.
boats parked in the harbor right there.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah. I think
rolls out of bed to pour a beer for whichever
for the
boat
single
guy gets
person
on.
Yeah.
that shows
Oh my
up.
God.
Yeah.
But the space itself
I mean,
is super
I'm glad,
cool.
Honestly, like the alternative to like, you know, her complaining a little bit before we got there would have been them not actually, like truly not
being prepared.
and not knowing, and like us getting there and them turning us away, or like, you know, or it being like a complete shit show or something. Like, so I'd rather have what did happen, where like we were a little caught off guard and just had to go get some money.
It was
like,
probably the most
she was a
money
little
that
bit
they've
rude to
made
people, like,
the
Oh
my
God,
in
God.
such a long time. You guys
Absolutely.
brought in a
Sure.
huge crowd of people that were hitting the bar regularly the
I'm
entire time.
positive that
Yeah.
they made so much more money.
I think
than
she
did.
just had a lot of pride in her space.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
really, we were just part of the reason we had Chris and Alexa go there was so they could set it up for us.
Yeah.
And instead, they just like took over,
Yeah.
Yeah.
setting it
And
all
they
up.
did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. No, and she was great. So,
Everyone had a blast.
So that was that. Yeah.
and it's funny that that was the first phone call that I got as a married lady. You know?
yeah. Yeah.
We were like, oh, I guess this is our first like problem solving
Yeah.
together officially, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah. There was just the only thing was just that little bit of anxiety. We're like, are they not serving people right
Yeah,
now?
we were a little
And then we
nervous
called
that
up
they were
Chris and
being
like, what's
mean
going
or,
on?
like-
And Chris, of course, was like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Which I guess is another one of those things. I guess we'll just have to believe people that was the case, you know?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
messaged, you guys were like 10 minutes out, and I was like, there's a long line for the food. People
Yeah.
are already eating. You were like, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think I just want to call out one more thing that I feel like the thing I'm most pleased with in terms of like our making it happen, aside from the fact that we like got to the wedding at 7:15 and we said we were going to get there, like we hit like all the times. I felt good about
Yeah.
that. Was incorporating the bells into the ceremony.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that was both an opportunity for people to like participate and an opportunity to fill in any dead air, or like, the mic was cutting in and out, which like normally would bother me, and it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But like when it was happening, people would just be like, ding, 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 we're here, everything's cool,
Yeah.
and just a way to sonically like continue the bubble, like lift everything up,
It was so cute, and they kept going off the entire time.
Yeah.
That was a very, very great idea.
Yeah.
I actually, I have the bell on the coffee table because I thought we were going to be at the house, and I was going to pull it over. It's over there, but
Yeah.
it was really cute, and they were all a variety of bells.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we picked we bought all the bells the place had,
Okay.
and then picked the ones that sounded best together.
Oh, nice.
And then
Yeah, because we wanted there to be a variety. We wanted there to be kind of like a harmony.
And the little gift bags they put on everyone's blankets and chairs. Also, it seemed like you could see those little sustenance things that you guys have had during your journey. It was like little energy, calcium.
Goo chews.
Yeah.
It was banana chips and nuts, and like like everyone had a different
Cashews and
thing.
almonds.
Yeah.
And then meat sticks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
little jerky, like meat jerky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just something to tide over.
And tiny Gatorades and
Tiny
bars.
Gatorades and vitamin bars,
Tiny
yeah.
vitamin bars. Those
Yeah.
were, I don't know if this was like really communicated, but the blue Gatorade is what I always go for, and the pink vitamin water is what Mike always goes for.
That's
So
good.
they were like the ones we like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, also for the people that didn't get to go to the family meeting, kind of I want to say rehearsal,
Yeah.
like picnic.
Yeah, on Saturday, yeah.
You guys even brought in little foods that were like tiny little sushi, rice, like seaweed things,
Yeah.
and other like little Greek pastry things.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and you said that they were kind of inspired by the things that you eat on your walks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all from Industry City, the like food place that they have there. There's Japan Village, which is where we got the little rice balls from, and then there's the Hattie's, which is where we got the like pastries from, the savory pastries. And yeah, they're all things that like are an easy like grab and go that you can like eat while walking.
It was cute.
I liked that a lot. We thought about doing like, when we were planning that, we were thinking like, how do we do like a park catered thing? And we were like, Mike was suggesting Italian food, and we were thinking about like pizzas or whatever. And then we were like, oh, you know what? Like things that we eat while walking would be perfect, because then people can just grab it and eat it while picnicking.
Don't need tables or silverware.
But it's also like a glimpse into kind of
Totally.
your journey, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome. It was really cute.
Yeah.
It was a good touch.
I mean, that's what we tried to do with everything that we provided people, was try and pair it in some way with what we were doing. So,
Yeah. I think and we had, I guess, the last little touch that was like our special, like about us, is that we had the people playing music at the ceremony were friends that Mike's known for a really long time, but that like we've gone to see them play. They're already they're not a band anymore, actually. They're all in their own bands separately now, but they were a band together with a few other people, and it felt really special to have like these people that we've gone to see play music so many times, like asking them to come.
we've made music
Do that
videos
for
with
us
them,
and-
for them.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah.
it was a nice thing.
So
and
that
they-
wasn't necessarily like related to this last year of walking, but like it felt special to have them.
It was
people
beautiful
that we've
music.
worked
It was
with before.
perfect.
Yeah, they did great.
They did a really good job, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.